Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is my Chicago Bears Journal. This is my first video since the season ended, so a lot of things have happened in between these two videos. We've hired a good amount of coaches, new offensive coordinator, new QB coach. Dave Ragone gets promoted. We brought back Danny Trevathan. There's talk of us bringing back Kyle Klendix. None of that has been confirmed. Eddie Jackson is back. Still waiting to hear if Allen Robinson will be extended. But a lot of things have happened. But for this video, I want to talk about what the Bears should do and what they're going to do. What I think they're going to do. So the big topic right now, and for those wondering, the league has said that even though we have everything with the coronavirus going on right now, the league will start on time. That's what I've seen. I know Adam Schefter reported that the league will start on time, despite everything going on with coronavirus. World of Sports has basically shut down. But NFL free agency will take place. The start of the new year will not be affected. This means that this time tomorrow, on Monday, the legal tampering period will be going. Teams are allowed to negotiate with players. They won't be officially signed, but they can at least begin to talk to various players. So first off, the big thing about the Bears, and there's three different camps with this right now, is what are the Bears going to do with the quarterback position? There's one side that says the Bears will be ultra aggressive. You're going to see them sign a top guy in free agent, maybe draft a guy in the second round, maybe trade up in the draft and get someone like Jordan Love. So there's that group that Bears will be ultra aggressive. Then you have the other side of things, which says, well, the Bears are going to double down on Mitchell Trubisky. They're going to maybe draft someone at late round, but he's not going to have a chance to be the starter. They're going to get maybe a guy at free agency, but they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel for him. Ultimately, the Bears will not do anything at quarterback. Trubisky's a guy, no backup in sight. No one will take his job. And then there's the middle group, which says, well, the Bears are going to get a veteran quarterback. Maybe they're going to draft someone in the second round. Maybe they're going to trade down to the third round and grab someone. I don't see them trading down to grab a quarterback, but you have that. Maybe they'll go and grab a veteran quarterback, maybe trade for a veteran quarterback. They're not going to be the week one star by any means, no QB competition. But by week 6, somewhere in there in the middle of next season, Mitch Trubisky will be benched and some other quarterback will be coming in. So first, if I want to say they're not going to draft, they're not going to pick a quarterback in free agency. They might draft a quarterback. I can see them drafting a guy maybe in the 6th round. They have to replace Tyler Bray as well. They have to replace both Chase Daniel and Tyler Bray. So 2 quarterbacks will be on the roster. Just depends exactly when. They could just pick up an undrafted free agent as well. That's definitely a possibility. But I think they're going to attack the trade market. Now, there's 2 quarterbacks that can be traded. 2 quarterbacks that people are talking about. Derek Carr and Andy Dalton. So what I think the Bears are going to do, and they've been noted on both of these trade markets, both for Carr and Dalton. But I think the Bears are going to take Dalton. This is my reason. Dalton is cheaper. Derek Carr is going to take one of those second-round picks, possibly the second-round pick we got from the Raiders. Which in that case, if you think about it, isn't that bad of a trade. If you consider the Khalil Mack trade, that second-round pick also becomes Derek Carr. Not a very bad trade if you think of it that way. But that's a lot. That's a big pick when we need some offensive linemen. We're going to need a linebacker. We're going to need maybe a cornerback, maybe a safety if Ha-Ha doesn't come back. So there's a lot of things that the Bears need, and that second-round pick is going to address that. So don't see the Bears really trading that second-round pick away. I think there's a very good chance they're going to trade that comp pick that we got for Amos. It's a 4th-round pick. I think there's a very good chance that we trade that pick away. It's basically like a free pick. It's a pick that basically was just handed to us because of, you can say we lost free agency last year. We lost more people than we gained. And Amos was a decent pick up there for Green Bay. If you compare him to Ha Ha Clinton-Dix, we might have made the better decision. But nevertheless, it's a free pick. So there's a very good chance maybe we trade that 4th round pick away, that comp pick, and Dalton, that does make sense, a 4th round pick. But Dalton also could go for less. I think they're going to trade that 4th pick away for Dalton, but there's a good chance maybe they trade a 5th, a 6th pick. Anything can happen at that point. So, in fact, I'm not even sure we have a 5th round pick. But I think it's a good chance that 4th round comp pick gets turned into Andy Dalton. Dalton's going to stay behind Trubisky. It does make sense. Bill Lazor was his offensive coordinator a couple years ago. And Dalton made it to the Pro Bowl under Bill Lazor. And let's be honest, Dalton, he kind of fits that Ryan Tannehill bill. Miami did not help out Tannehill whatsoever. They didn't put a lot of weapons around him. Yeah, they brought in Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker. We still haven't seen him fully blossom yet, and Stills really hasn't been a huge, really hasn't done a whole lot for them. Hence the reason they traded him to Houston. Even then, he didn't do a whole lot in Houston either. But also the run game was awful. Blocking wasn't that great. The defense was bad. I mean, you can't blame Tannehill for how Miami looked. But they did. They traded him for a 7th round pick. Tannehill goes over to Tennessee, and he just got a monster deal, a 4-year deal worth $118 million. Brought to the conference playoffs, gets paid, and the Titans look like geniuses right now. Dalton kind of fits that bill. Dalton's one of those guys that, Cincinnati, they like him, but at the same time, it's time for a change. It's time that he goes. He hasn't really been productive in the last few seasons, but once again, you can't blame him for that. They do have a strong running game with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's a very good running back, but they don't have receivers. A.J. Green's a good receiver when he's healthy, but he's been hurt the last couple of years. John Ross is very quick, but he can't catch. I mean, he had a hard time catching balls this year. He dropped a lot. And Tyler Boyd, he's one of those guys that could be, it's like Devontae Parker. He could be really, really good, but we really haven't seen him turn that corner, even though he got a pretty decent deal last year. He really hasn't shown that he's worth it. And then Tyler Eifert, they haven't had a really good tight end, mainly because Eifert's been hurt. Eifert's been hurt a lot in the last few seasons, but they've really been hurting at the tight end spot. So if you take a look at Cincinnati as a whole, if you look at Andy Dalton as a whole, can you really blame Dalton for the way they've looked? He hasn't gotten a lot of help. Yes, he's thrown some things really he shouldn't have thrown, but let's be honest, you can't blame. The reason Cincinnati was the worst team last year is not Dalton's fault. It's a collective. It's the fault of the team. It's the fault of the collective team. So Dalton comes to the Bears. Very, very good for us. There's a good chance he'll start over Trubisky. Definitely Trubisky plays like he did this last season. Very good chance Dalton comes in. And let's be honest, the Bears are better than the Bengals. We have a better receiving core. Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Trey Burton, maybe it's better than an injured Tyler Eifert, mainly because Tyler Eifert's injured. He's not even there. At least Trey Burton's there. But even then, there's going to be something we're going to do at tight end spot. Trey Burton might not be the starter this next year. It all depends what we do in free agency. And I'll get to that here in just a sec. But Andy Dalton to the Bears, you may say, well, I don't want Dalton. Can we just get someone else? We can't afford someone in free agency. We can't afford Teddy Bridgewater. We can't afford, and we're not going to get Jameis. We're not going to get Marcus Mariota. Those two, can you imagine a QB competition with those two or Trubisky? No, thank you. Dalton makes the most sense. We don't have to give him a whole lot. We can restructure his contract. It should be fine. But for the rest of the team, so let's address free agency now. So we trade for Dalton. That might happen in the next couple days, by the way. Everyone knows they're taking Joe Burrow. They don't need Dalton away. They need to trade Dalton someplace. There's a very good chance maybe they're waiting to hear back from New England to see if Tom Brady's back or not. But hopefully the Bears can swoop in. If Tom Brady stays in New England, there's a very good chance the Bears get Dalton. If Tom Brady leaves New England, Dalton might end up going there. That's the only reason I can really think that teams haven't traded for him yet. It also could be the CBA agreement. They're just waiting for that to pass. See if that passes the next couple of days, which it did pass today. So you might see Dalton in the news in the next couple days. But free agency, we don't have a lot of cap room. So because of that, we're not going to make a huge splash. You're not going to see us go and grab some top guys. But what you will see us do is address some very big needs. Right now, we need a guard. We need an outside linebacker because I don't think we're going to keep Floyd. We need a backup middle linebacker. We need either a starting tight end or a second string tight end. I will not be surprised. I think Adam Shaheen will stay on the roster, but he won't really be a huge factor. And then we need a receiver to replace Taylor Gabriel. Because I don't think Javon Williams is going to step up into that spot. They need a speedy guy. Miller could be that speedy guy, but I think we want someone just a little bit faster. We want Miller to be doing other things rather than just going straight. Because he can do that. He's a good route runner. He can do more than just one thing. So what I think we're going to do first and foremost, tight end is going to be an iffy thing. What we should do is just draft a tight end with a second round pick and not even worry about a tight end free agency. If you're going to pick up a tight end, go for Eric Ebron. Don't go for Austin Hooper. Hooper started for a few seasons. He's really hot right now, but he's had one good season. In fact, do you know who he reminds me of? Trey Burton. He's another Trey Burton. You're asking for a lot of trouble by getting Austin Hooper. He really hasn't proven himself completely. One good season is nothing. He needs to have multiple good seasons. And Eric Ebron, he is a good tight end. Yes, I know he's had one breakout season. I get that. But this guy's also played with Trubisky. Trubisky didn't start when Ebron was at North Carolina, but they know each other. They have chemistry already. That's amazing. That's exactly what we need as a team. We need to have some chemistry, some identity. So what the Bears should do is draft a tight end in the second round pick. If we're going to pick someone up in free agency, pick up Ebron. We need an edge rusher badly. We're going to pick up guys in free agency when it comes to positions that we absolutely need people that we can't expect to go for someone in the second round. So when it comes to a pass rusher, I'm expecting us to go after Vic Beasley. I think we're going to sign Vic Beasley to a deal. How big of a deal, I really don't know, but I think we're going to get Vic Beasley. So free agency, Vic Beasley, maybe Eric Ebron, maybe. I think we should probably go for a tight end in the second round. In other words, we're just going to go after one other guy. Vic Beasley and the receiver. There's two names that I really like that I think help us out. I think Pace is going to go for a guy that is established, who has a good record, and I think he should do that. I don't think he should go for a guy like Higgins there in Cleveland, who really hasn't proven himself yet. We did that kind of with Taylor Gabriel. I mean, he had that one season with Atlanta, and then we decided, let's just go after him, let's see what happens. And it didn't really work out too well. It worked out okay. I mean, he was hurt a lot this season. I'll give him that. But he had a really hard time catching. So we should go after a solid receiver who is dependable. And there's two names that I really like. One being Paul Richardson. I do like Paul Richardson. I think there's a good chance he's not going to get re-signed. He'll be out in the open market. That would be a really good compliment to have on the opposite side of Allen Robinson. He's a very fast guy. But he can also do a little bit more stuff than just running straight. I think Paul Richardson makes a lot of sense for the Bears. I'd love it if we got him. But the big name that I think we're going to get, or at least who we should get, is a guy like Randall Cobb. Yes, he's not where he used to be 5 years ago in Green Bay, but he's been a solid receiver there for Dallas. We don't need someone who can just show off. We have Miller and we have Robinson. We don't need a top-notch receiver. We don't need Amari Cooper. Would be great if we get Amari Cooper, of course, but we don't need Amari Cooper. We just need someone who Trubisky can trust, and Randall Cobb, I think he's that kind of a guy. As long as he stays healthy, I would definitely go with Randall Cobb. So that's what I think we should do in free agency. Don't focus on cornerback. Don't focus on tight end free agency. Go and grab Vic Beasley. He'll be instant help there at the edge. I think he'll be a good complement to Khalil Mack. And then go and grab a solid receiver, and Randall Cobb's a guy. Now, what will Pace do, though? That's the voice of reason, is he should do this, but it doesn't mean he's going to do that. Plus, he also has more information than I do. So what will Pace do? Pace will go after a tight end in free agency. I don't see him. Yes, he's looking at the draft, but I think that's more of what if we don't get past here. Bears are going to push hard for Austin Hooper. The only reason we wouldn't get him is if he's worth too much money. In that case, Eric Ebron might be a pick. Vance McDonald might be a pick as well. But I think Bears are going to push hard for Austin Hooper. Don't be surprised if Austin Hooper is with the Bears next season. I strongly urge Pace not to go for Hooper, but I have a feeling Hooper will be a Chicago Bear. Or at least Pace is going to push hard for him. Vic Beasley, I think that's something they're actually going to do. I think that's something that's in the works. When it comes to offensive linemen, Pace will address that in the draft. He's done that various years. We drafted James Daniels in the second round. We drafted right here in the second round. We're going to draft a guard or a tackle in the second, probably guard. A guard in the second round. That's pretty much a done deal. That's what Pace has done throughout his time there in Chicago. Whenever they need an offensive lineman, we'll just go and pick one up in the second round of the draft. It's definitely possible. You can easily find some really good guards there in the second round, as Pace has already proven. When it comes to cornerback, we have solid cornerbacks. Tolliver actually could be the starter. We're not in dire need for a cornerback. So if we're going to go corner, it's going to be sometime in the draft. We're not going to pick anyone up in free agency, I don't think, unless we're just trying to find a replacement for Cherrick McManus. But I think for the most part, we're going to pick someone up in the draft. When it comes to middle linebacker, yes, James Trevathan's back. More unlikely, Kukowski's gone. Will we pick up a good backup middle linebacker? We're going to re-sign Kevin Pierre-Louis. I'm pretty sure of that. We're going to bring back Kevin Pierre-Louis. And then I think Pace is going to address the middle linebacker position in the draft once again, using one of our fourth-round picks. Draft, that's basically what we did with Kwiatkowski. Fourth-round pick, boom. Pace can do that. He's very, very good with those mid-round picks. He hadn't really failed us yet on those mid-round picks. It's always the first and second rounders that we can talk. I can fill up a year's worth of videos just talking about what all of Pace's mistakes in the first and second round since he's been the Bears GM. But I think that's all that Pace is going to do. Go after the outside linebacker, let Floyd go for an outside linebacker, maybe go for a tight end, and then receiver, which I think is a good chance Pace will go and grab Randall Cobb. He spent a lot of time watching Cobb while he's been with Green Bay. I think it's a very good chance that Cobb comes to Chicago. So that's what I think the Bears are going to do. They're not going to go and grab just like Rashad Higgins, a guy that could be really good, but a guy who really hasn't proven himself. Or a guy like Travis Benjamin. I don't think that's what Pace is going to do. I think Pace is seeing that he needs to have a good receiver for our quarterback is there. If it's Trubisky, if it's Dalton, if it's a second-round quarterback they picked up in the draft. I think no matter what, Pace is going to be saying, I need someone who can help out my quarterback, who can help his team out. So let me go and grab an established receiver who knows what he's doing, who we know is a good playmaker. Let's go for someone like that, and I think Randall Cobb does fit that bill. So that's what I think the Bears are going to do. That's what I think the Bears should do, and that's what I think the Bears are going to do. We'll find out in a couple days exactly what they do. So pay attention next couple days. If you've been looking for a Pro Football Today video this week, I'm sorry. I decided to push that back a couple days. Reason being, I would rather have a video during free agency or during the legal tampering period right before the league year begins, rather than do stuff now and then having another video later. So be on the lookout for that. I'll have that out in a couple days. I'll be talking about a little bit what's going on around the league. Sadly, there will be no more XFL recaps as the XFL has suspended their season due to the coronavirus. It's a sad world we live in. No March Madness, no XFL. But luckily, we do have the NFL free agency. So all of us football guys, we have something that we can talk about, something that we can watch. We have some sort of entertainment. Watch and see, will we succeed here in free agency? Will we look better than last year? And for Chicago, I really hope that's the case. I think it will be the case. I think we'll be heading to next week feeling very, very excited about what the 2020 Bears are going to look like. But thank you so much for watching. Keep a lookout for that video here in the next couple days. If you have any comments, if you like anything here, if you disagree with anything here, I love your comments. I know I don't really comment back, but I do read them. I appreciate what everyone has to say about this. So continue the discussion, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day and a good rest of your week.